You're 5 feet 9 inches tall. Your great-great-great-great-grandfather was 5 feet too. 4 million years ago, your ancestor was 3 feet 6. That climb from 3.5 feet to nearly 6 feet, it wasn't progress. Every single inch came with a price you're paying right now, whether you know it or not. And the worst part? The adaptation stopped 10,000 years ago. Your body is stuck in the Stone Age while you're living in 2025. We're taught to see human evolution as a straight line toward perfection. Weaker apes to stronger apes to smarter apes to us. Done. Finished. The best version. But that's not what happened. What actually happened was this. Your body was engineered over 4 million years by a series of brutal trade-offs. We got taller. We got smarter. We got more capable. And with every adaptation, we didn't add a feature. We sacrificed something. Here's what they don't teach you. Your body is not a finished product. Your body is a museum of trade-offs. Every single part of you is a decision your ancestors made thousands of years ago that you're now living with the consequences of. Taller? Great, but your spine is now under crushing pressure it was never designed for. Bigger brain? Incredible, but you need 9 months of complete helplessness as an infant. Bipedal? Efficient for covering ground, but your knees are degenerating right now. And lower back pain is the #1 cause of disability in the world. 2 hands that can make tools? Yes, but you lost the ability to move through trees. You lost climbing strength. You became vulnerable. And here's the thing that will keep you up at night. The evolution stopped about 10,000 years ago. Your body is not evolving anymore. You're biologically frozen. But your environment is evolving at lightning speed. Your food changed, your posture changed, your light cycles changed, your stress changed. And your body, your 4 million year old body, has no idea what to do with any of it. This is the story of how you got here. Every major transformation, every trade-off, and most importantly, what each one cost you. Let's go back. 4 million years ago, Africa was different than you think. There were no humans, no proto-humans, no early humans. What existed instead was a small ape, about 3.5 feet tall, maybe 90 pounds, with long arms, a curved spine, and a brain the size of a chimpanzee's. Scientists call it Australopithecus afarensis, but you can think of it as your great-great-great-great-great-grandmother. Her name might have been Lucy, based on a skeleton found in Ethiopia in 1974, and she looked at the world completely differently than you do. Lucy lived in trees mostly. She moved on all fours. Her arms were longer than her legs, built for gripping branches, not throwing spears. Her big toe pointed outward, like other apes, perfect for wrapping around a branch. Her pelvis was ape-shaped, wide and flared, designed for climbing. Her spine was a C-shape, the perfect curve for a quadruped moving through 3 dimensions. Her vision was good, but not exceptional. Her hearing was average. But here's what's important. She was different from other apes. She had something subtle, something almost invisible. Her big toe was starting to point forward. Her pelvis had a tiny, almost imperceptible hint of vertical alignment. She was in the most minor way possible, trying to stand upright. And that tiny variation, that one subtle difference, it would change the entire trajectory of life on Earth. Because Lucy's kids inherited that variation, and their kids inherited it stronger, and their kids stronger still. And 4 million years of that tiny change created you. But Lucy didn't know that. Lucy just knew one thing. The trees were dying. Around 3.5 million years ago, Africa's climate shifted. The evidence is in the soil. Geologists can read it like a book. The rainforests were shrinking. The canopy was thinning. The climate was getting drier, hotter, more unpredictable. If you lived in trees, you were done. If you could survive on the ground, moving across open grasslands, foraging on foot, you had a shot.
So your ancestor made a choice. She came down. But here's what almost no one understands. Coming down on 2 feet was not an improvement. It was a disaster. It was a catastrophe. And your body is still paying for it. Why bipedalism was a nightmare? When you walk on 4 legs, your weight is distributed evenly across 4 limbs. Your center of gravity is stable. Your spine is horizontal. It's efficient. When you switch to 2 legs, everything shatters. Your entire skeleton has to reorganize. Your center of gravity shifts radically. Your pelvis has to rotate, changing its shape completely. Your spine has to curve into an S shape, bending backward just to keep your head balanced over your feet. Your legs now support weight they were never built for. Your knees become the shock absorbers for your entire body weight. And your feet? Your feet become completely reorganized. The big toe stops pointing sideways, perfect for gripping, and points forward, creating an arch. You lose climbing ability. You lose agility in trees. You gain what? The ability to cover distance on ground. That's it. A chimpanzee moves through its environment in 3 dimensions. It's fast, it's efficient, it's safe. You move in 2 dimensions. You're slow, you're inefficient, and you're exposed. For the first 2 million years of bipedalism, your ancestor was basically a slow-moving target on the savannah. You were prey. The cost, your spine. A 2019 study from Harvard found that lower back pain, specifically from bipedal posture stress, affects 80% of humans at some point in their lives. In Lucy's time, that number was probably 0. Your spine is literally degenerating under the weight of your own body. But Lucy didn't get lower back pain. She was lighter. She moved differently. Her spine had time to adjust. You sit in a chair for 8 hours a day, hunched forward, compressing the discs in your spine at 3 times the force of gravity. And that's just one cost. The other cost, your pelvis and childbirth. When your pelvis rotated to become upright, something horrifying happened. The pelvic opening, the hole that a baby has to pass through to be born, got smaller, much smaller. At the same time, your brain was about to get much larger. So you ended up in a biological nightmare, a larger-headed baby trying to squeeze through a smaller pelvic opening. The solution? Birth had to happen earlier, before the baby's head got too big. So humans started being born premature compared to other apes. A human baby is born at about 9 months, but it's still basically helpless. A chimpanzee baby is born with the motor control of a 1-year-old human. This meant that human mothers had to invest years of intensive care into a single child, feeding it, protecting it, teaching it. This changed everything about human society. It forced us into family groups. It made women vulnerable during pregnancy and early motherhood. It created dependency. Bipedalism didn't just change your spine, it changed your entire social structure. And it made you slower. A human running at top speed, about 28 miles per hour. A chimpanzee, 30 miles per hour. A lion, 50 miles per hour. So you traded climbing ability, speed, and agility for the ability to walk long distances on flat ground. That sounds dumb, and it almost was. But then something happened. Your brain started to change. Here's where it gets wild. Around 2.5 million years ago, something changed in the hominid brain. We don't know exactly why. Maybe it was bipedalism, freeing up the hands to carry food and tools. Maybe it was diet. Eating meat became easier, and meat is more calorie-dense than leaves. Maybe it was social pressure, needing bigger brains to navigate complex group dynamics. But the brain started growing. Slowly at first, then exponentially. Lucy's brain, 400 cubic centimeters. Homo habilis, 2.5 million years ago, 600 cubic centimeters. Homo erectus, 1.5 million years ago, 900 cubic centimeters. Homo neanderthalensis, 200,000 years ago, 1,400 cubic centimeters. Homo sapiens, today, 1,350 cubic centimeters. Over 2.3 million years, your brain tripled in size. This is the most significant change in your entire evolutionary history. Bigger brain meant abstract thinking, language, planning for the future, art, religion, anxiety. It meant everything that makes you human. But it came at a cost, a devastating cost. The cost, your body. A large brain is metabolically expensive. The human brain uses about 20% of your body's total energy, even though it's only 2% of your body weight. To feed your giant brain, you had to eat more calories. Your body got smaller to conserve resources. Your muscles atrophied. Your bones became thinner. Lucy was stronger than you, much stronger. Her arms, her legs, her jaw, all more powerful. You can't run as fast. You can't jump as high. You can't lift as much. You traded physical strength for the ability to think about why you're weak. And the worst cost? Your jaw. As your brain grew, something had to give. Your jaw got smaller. Your teeth got smaller. Your bite force decreased. Today's human has a bite force of about 200 psi. A chimpanzee, 1,300 psi. You couldn't kill a deer with your teeth if you tried. And the worst cost? Your body hair and temperature regulation. To make room for a bigger brain, your body had to cool down more efficiently. So you lost your body hair. You developed sweat glands instead. This was good for cooling, but it made you vulnerable to cold and predators in ways that hairy apes were not. You needed to wear clothes. You needed fire. You couldn't survive in cold climates without technology. You became dependent on tools and fire, not just for food, but for survival. This is the trap. Your brain got too big. Your body became too weak to survive without help. You became obligated to stay in groups. And that changed everything about human civilization.
For about 2 million years, your ancestors hunted and gathered. They moved around. They ate varied diets. They worked maybe 15 hours a week. Humans were healthy. Skeletal records show strong bones, minimal disease, good nutrition. Then, around 12,000 years ago, something catastrophic happened. Agriculture. A few groups in the Fertile Crescent figured out you could plant seeds, grow wheat, and harvest grain at scale. Everyone else saw this and thought, that's the future, let's do that. This might be the worst decision humans ever made. Why agriculture was a disaster for your body. When you're a hunter-gatherer, you eat variety, meat, vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, whatever's in season. Your diet changes constantly. Your digestive system gets a full spectrum of nutrients. With agriculture, you eat one thing, grain, wheat, barley, rice, corn, one crop, repeated endlessly. Your body was not designed for this. Your digestive system revolted. Skeletons from the agricultural revolution show signs of malnutrition. Bone density dropped, height decreased, tooth enamel thinned, disease increased. One skeleton study published in Science in 2002 compared hunter-gatherers to early farmers. The farmers were shorter, had more cavities, more signs of disease, and more bone fragility, all despite producing more food. Agriculture made you sicker, but it made you more numerous, and the math was simple. 10 sickly farmers could produce more food than one healthy hunter. So agriculture won, and your body paid the price. The other cost is your posture and joints. Agriculture meant repetitive motion, plowing, grinding grain, carrying loads, bending over constantly. Your joints got damaged, your spine got compressed, arthritis became common in ways it wasn't before. And because agriculture tied you to land, you became sedentary. Your muscles atrophied further. Before agriculture, you moved constantly. You climbed, you sprinted, you carried. After agriculture, you bent over one field 8 hours a day. Your body adapted to sedentary life. Your cardiovascular system got weaker. Your muscle mass decreased. This is still in your genes. Your body expects to be sedentary because that's what agriculture trained it to do for the last 12,000 years. And the psychological cost, hierarchy. Before agriculture, humans lived in small groups of 50 to 100 people. Everyone had a role. Everyone had status. Agriculture required organization. You needed managers, rulers, soldiers. You needed hierarchy. For the first time in human history, some people had power over others. This created stress. Psychological, chronic stress from competition and status anxiety. Your nervous system is literally wired to respond to this threat, and now you're dealing with it 24/7. Fast forward 12,000 years. Agriculture got more efficient. Empires rose and fell. Technology improved.
Then, about 200 years ago, the Industrial Revolution happened. For most of human existence, your light came from the sun and fire. When the sun went down, you slept. When it came up, you woke. Then, in 1879, Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. Suddenly, night was optional. You could work, socialize, eat, think, anytime. Your body has no idea what to do with this. The cost? Your circadian rhythm. Your body is regulated by circadian rhythms, internal 24-hour cycles that control sleep, hormone production, metabolism, even mood. These rhythms evolved over millions of years to match the sun's cycle. When you expose yourself to electric light at night, you're essentially lying to your body. You're telling it it's daytime when it's night. Your brain stops producing melatonin. Your cortisol stays elevated. Your body thinks it's time to be alert. So you can't sleep. You take melatonin supplements, which is just you trying to tell your body what it should have figured out on its own. A 2013 Harvard study found that people exposed to electric light at night had disrupted sleep, weight gain, and hormone dysregulation. You've been doing this for 145 years. Your genes haven't adapted yet. The other cost is your food. 100 years ago, food was simple. You ate what was in season. You ate whole foods. Now you eat ultra-processed foods, refined grains, added sugars, seed oils, artificial additives. These foods are hyper-palatable. They trigger your reward system in ways that real food doesn't. Your brain, designed to crave calories when food was scarce, is now bombarded with foods engineered to be irresistible. You're fighting millions of years of evolution with willpower, and you're losing. The obesity rate in 1970, 15%. The obesity rate in 2025, 42%. Your body hasn't changed. Your food has. The worst cost? Your posture. For millions of years, your ancestors moved through three-dimensional space. They climbed, they carried, they balanced. 70 years ago, the desk job was invented. Now, you sit. For 8 hours a day, you sit in a chair, hunched forward, staring at a screen. Your shoulders round forward, your chest caves in, your spine compresses, your hips tighten, your glutes stop working. Your ancestors would not recognize your posture. A 2016 study found that office workers have measurably different skeletal structures than their parents. Shorter spines, weaker back muscles, forward head posture. This is not just a cosmetic problem. Poor posture restricts breathing, digestion, and circulation.
So here's where we are. Your body is 4 million years old. It's optimized for living in small groups, moving constantly, eating varied whole foods, sleeping when the sun sets, high levels of physical activity, being exposed to natural light, and regular fasting periods. But you live in a world of 8 billion people, sitting for 8 hours a day, ultra-processed foods engineered to be addictive, electric light 24/7, abundant food all the time, fluorescent office lights, and chronic stress and status competition. This mismatch is killing you. Not dramatically, not all at once, but slowly, silently, in 1,000 small ways. The diseases you're developing, cardiovascular disease, your ancestors didn't have atherosclerosis. Type 2 diabetes, your ancestors ate very few refined carbs. Autoimmune disease, your ancestors' immune systems were primed by constant exposure to parasites and pathogenic bacteria. Depression and anxiety, 200-year-old psychiatric disease rates are 10 times higher than pre-industrial rates. Sleep disorders, chronic pain, reproductive issues, cognitive decline, which may be linked to ultra-processed foods and lack of movement. None of these diseases were common 200 years ago. They're not genetic mutations, they're mismatch diseases. Your body versus your environment, and your body is losing. But here's the thing, you can't go back. You can't uninvent the light bulb. You can't uninvent agriculture. You can't live in a small tribe of 50 people. So what do? You have to understand the mismatch. You have to understand that your craving for sugar isn't a personal failure. It's a 4 million-year-old mechanism optimized for scarcity, dealing with abundance. You have to understand that your anxiety isn't weakness. It's a system designed to respond to physical threats, dealing with social and financial threats instead. You have to understand that your insomnia isn't laziness. It's a circadian rhythm that's been hijacked by electric light.
And you have to work against your biology consciously to live in the modern world. So that's the history. From 3.5 feet tall to nearly 6 feet, from a tree-climbing ape to a civilization-building genius, from a healthy forager to a chronically ill office worker. Every step up was a step down in some other way. Evolution doesn't optimize for happiness. It doesn't optimize for health. It optimizes for survival and reproduction. And your body is built for a world that doesn't exist anymore. The question isn't, how do I fix my body? The question is, how do I live in modern society while honoring the body that got me here? Because your body isn't broken, it's just 4 million years old, trying to make sense of a 200-year-old world. That's the story. What part of human evolution do you think shaped you the most? Is it your big brain getting you stuck in anxiety, your bipedal spine giving you back pain, or are you one of the lucky ones whose body hasn't yet rebelled against modern life? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this made you think differently about your body, about the trade-offs that made you human, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden history of humanity. Because once you see these patterns, you can't unsee them. Thanks for watching.